Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to this Grateful Harmony Beltane concert. We've got some symbols of Beltane for you. I've got a whole load of Gary Oaks,
And I have some flame.
and may the blessing of this really special portal in time be with you. Right, I'm going to put this down. So, wonderful people who are watching, can you write in the chat function to let us know that you can hear us? And also, if there's something wrong with the audio, we don't know about it because we're talking to each other through Skype. So, please communicate with us in the chat box. Yeah. Oh, I'm so delighted that so many of you have tuned in, and also that Alana, who doesn't know me, said yes to coming on and being my guest. So thank you, Alana. Can you tell people where you're streaming from?
Okay, well, I am on Treaty 2 territory of the Anishinaabe people in Manitoba, Canada. That's where I am. And there's a lot of animals outside, like significant amounts of animals.
I actually told my people on Patreon that one of the reasons I thought you would be an excellent person for Beltane was because you had so many animals.
Yes, yeah. There's a little calf, there's a milk cow about to calve, there's a pig about to farrow, there are bunnies. Yeah, I'm serious, there's animals. And four dogs.
Four dogs. We got two dogs here, so I think there might be some barking. There was a bit of a dog fight happening earlier behind me. That's the joy of a concert that's streamed from people's rural homes, is you get the barnyard as well as everything else.
Yes.
Hey, I think I'm going to kick off with one of us singing. I have a Beltane song. Do you have a Beltane particular song, Alana, or do you want me to jump in first?
You can jump in first, and then I'll jump in.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Simon.
Oh, it's such a treat. Oh, yeah, that's. I'm sure you heard that. Okay. So this is called Circle Me, or The Deer's Cry. And I took two people's songs, adapted them, and I don't know how I'm going to get permission to record this, because it's not just one of my songs that's not mine, it's two people's, and I've blended them together, and I don't know whether they would like that or not, but I'm going to try and get permission to record this on my album that I'm recording right now. And the words are attributed to St. Patrick. Supposedly I have to tell you the whole story. Alana, do you know the story about St. Patrick and Beltane? Right, so it was about 400 years, let's say 433 years after the birth of Christ, and St. Patrick decides to celebrate Easter, Celtic Easter in Ireland, and it just happens to be Beltane that day. And he lights the Easter fire, and the king and his druids are on the next hill over, and they are extremely unhappy that somebody else has lit the sacred Beltane fire before they have. And what makes it worse is the chief druid says to the king, hey, actually there's a prophecy that if somebody lights a fire before the king, that flame will never ever go out and will take over. So the king was mad and sent a small army to put out the fire and kill the person, St. Patrick, who'd lit it. And supposedly this is the prayer that he intoned to keep him safe. And there's two versions of that I've heard. One is that they turned into deer and ran away. And the other one is that a herd of deer came in between them and the chariots. Enough talking. Here's the song. I rise today through the strength of heaven, light of sun, radiance of the moon, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, swiftness of wind, depth of the sea, stability of earth, firmness of rock. I arise today through God's strength to pilot me, God's eye to look before me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's way to lie before me, God's shield to protect me from all who should wish me ill, far and near, alone and in a multitude, against every cruel, merciless power that may oppose my body and soul. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I arise, Christ when I take rest, Christ to shield me. Christ in the heart of everyone who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me.
Lovely.
Thank you. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get to hear your version of that a little bit later, huh?
Maybe, yeah. I suppose I could do that one tonight. Yeah, one of the songs that I thought I would do actually pertains kind of to the gist of the story that you just told of St. Patrick and sort of this colonization of a people. And yeah, like the last 2 or 3 years, I've been doing so much research on how, just in research into my own interior, just what I've inherited. You know, I grew up in a Christian household and still affiliate with that household. But I'm really spending a lot of time doing this prayer, Mary, untie her of knots, where I'm just spending time doing my own just ancestral work, I guess. And, you know, seeing how the Temple of Claudius that was built in Colchester, for instance, the Queen Boudica of the Iceni tribe, she led her people to level the Temple of Claudius. And I think the most ironic part of that tale is that once Constantine Christianized, or Rome, basically, they built a church on the foundations of that temple. And one of the first churches in Britain was on the foundations of Roman colonization, basically. So it's very deep in me that I hold this whole paradox. But Beltane, or May Day, is it's a very ancient celebration, and I wanted to I put music to the Song for Wandering Aengus a while ago, and I thought it would be an appropriate song for myself to sing, because I grieve that storyline that you told, and that I'm telling about this church being built on the foundations of Rome. And I feel like that, you know, Beltane's also about the coming together, the unity of the masculine and the feminine, and how we can hold that in ourselves. And the song for Wandering Aengus feels almost like a lament of the disintegrated masculine, or this longing for this coming together of unity. And so I thought I would play that.
Please do.
To I went out to the hazelwood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peel the hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moth was on the wing, and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name and ran, and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone, and kiss her lips and take her hands, and walk among long dappled grass, and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Alana, the way that this works is that we play ping pong between each other's songs. So whatever your song brings in me, I'll spark. So I think I'm going to go to where I intended to go. Anyway, there's a song that I wrote about St. Gobnait. Well, really, it's a poem by Christine from Abbey of the Arts. She's amazing.
Yes.
This is her book here, and every time Christine Balter's painter, every time that she releases a book of poems or spiritual teachings, she also likes to release music. And I see that Betsy is on here. I saw her name in the chat, and Betsy often does liturgical dances outside in nature to the songs. So Christine asked me to set her poem about St. Gobnait. I'd never heard of St. Gobnait before. Have you heard of her?
No.
She's quite an obscure Irish saint, and the story about her goes that in a dream she was visited by an angel that told her to go to wander and go in search of 9 white deer. And that's what she does. She goes. So I'm going to sing that song. And hope that you guys can hear this piano. Might need my lyrics. On a tiny limestone island, an angel comes to Gobnait in a dream, disrupting all her plans, and sends her in search of 9 white deer. She wanders for miles across the sea and land until then at last they appear. But rather than running straight towards them, she kneels down upon the wet ground, sits in silence and waits, lets their long legs approach around her, curious noses sniff her hair. Breathing slowly, she slides back onto the grass and clover and knows that nothing surpasses this moment of heaven, hoof and dew. Is there a place for us where we no longer yearn to be? Always elsewhere, where our job is simply to soften and wait, attend to what's at hand. She smiles as bees gather eagerly around her, wings humming softly, as they collect the essence from the wildflowers, weaving labor into gold. Thank you.
Lovely.
Yeah. I've been thinking about the refrain on that. The bit, is there a place for us where we no longer yearn to be always elsewhere? Where our job is simply to soften and wait. And I have to say, I really love that. And it's reminding me of the gift for me of this time of being in seclusion, being an artist in residence, trying to help keep the larger community safe. But also I chose that song because it feels to me about the gentleness of being back out in the natural world where it's warm enough to sit down on the grass, and it's really warm enough to meditate and be still and receive the grace of the warmth coming back. You know, I go out all years and all weather, but there's something just so deeply nurturing and healing. And when I was reading up Christine's chapter about St. Gobnait, I found out that she's a saint of healing, which I'm sure was one of the reasons that Christine was drawn to her. So, from Wandering Aengus to St. Gobnait.
And now we're going to go to no one really knows where this story originates from, and no one can claim it, but Martin Shaw, are you familiar with him?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, he tells brilliantly tells stories. It was hard won, right? He had to live in the woods without really a whole lot of insulation for 4 years to become the great bard that he is.
I only met him once. He came to Port Townsend, and so I don't know him very well, but he was amazing. Yeah,
brilliant storyteller. Well, he tells the story of the fox woman dreaming, and it's actually kind of similar to the feeling of the song for Wandering Aengus, because basically this, I'm not going to tell it like he can, but this hunter comes back to his cabin, and he lives alone in this cabin, and he comes through the woods and sees that there's smoke coming from the chimney, and he smells good food wafting through the window, and he goes in and he sees this woman stirring a stew, and basically she tells him that she wants to be with him and feed him and be a part of his life. And so they become one, and she tells him that she has a fox pelt, and at first he's attracted to this, but eventually he becomes annoyed by this fox pelt that's in his cabin, and he decides one day to ask her if she could just put it outside, and eventually he gets more and more annoyed by the smell of this fox pelt, and so on and so forth, until he asks her to get rid of it altogether. And he wakes up the next day and she's gone.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
And he spends the rest of his days aching in his body for the scent of the fox pelt. And I, of course, don't tell it justice like Martin Shaw can do, but I kind of tell the story in a song I wrote, because I feel like, again, I'm not fond of allegory for the sake of allegory. I think that we're deeper creatures than that. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like what's happening in the world is also connected to deep, important things that we've forgotten, and that our forgetfulness shows up in a mirror every so often. Mm-hmm. And if we can look in the mirror, maybe behind behind us in the mirror, we might see some of the things that we've forgotten. And so, I put this music, and it feels very much, without trying to force a meaning on it. I sing it with a love for this planet.
Beautiful.
Walk softly through the cottonwoods, and you will find my cabin there, and I will feed you something good. Well, I fed you and I loved you with my whole wild heart, and we were bonded to each other like interwoven parts. And you wanted me, my foxfire flame. Yeah, you wanted me, unpredictable, untamed. Till one day it struck you, you were not in control. There was something there in me that you weren't allowed to hold. So you pursued and you subdued like a hunter with his game. And I looked at you with sadness as you took your aim. And you wanted me without my foxfire flame. Yeah, you wanted me, predictable and tame. So you woke up the next morning, alone there in our bed. The scent of wild was gone, and your world was safe instead. For a while you longed for me as I still long for you. Then you forgot your longing like an ache that's on the move. But you still want me with my foxfire flame. Yeah, you want me, unpredictable, untamed. Yeah, you want me, you long for me, you ache for me in your whole body.
Wow. That, as a married man, listening to that, it's like that's wonderful. And also so apt for Beltane, which is the wildness and the union, and how we so often choose comfort, right? And we want ease rather than the wildness. And that's, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. One of my big guiding people is Peace Pilgrim, who kind of encourages people not to go for comfort and convenience, like that we hold our passions and the things that we believe in and don't opt for a comfortable existence. Do you know much about Peace Pilgrim?
A little bit.
Yeah, and just there might be one or two people who have never heard of her. She walked across the United States many times for like 24 years or something, advocating that world peace needed to happen, and that it would only happen if we also had inner peace. And she gave away her name and her possessions and everything. And in the summer, she would walk north, and in the winter, she'd walk south. Amazing woman.
Yeah, that is interesting. Within that context, I think world peace won't come if some people get to be comfortable and others don't get to be comfortable.
And if we try and remove the wildness, it's I don't think it's the wildness that creates violence. I think it's the repressed wildness that creates violence in our world. My biggest teacher of the sacred is the natural world. You've probably heard the big book of creation and the wee book of the Bible is the Scottish way and the Irish way. And I have to say that I am so much more learned in reading the big book than the wee book. Maybe because one of them is in pictures and the other one's in words. I'm going to jump from that into actually it's an Imbolc song. We talked about Imbolc earlier when we were getting ready. So Imbolc is in some ways a mirror image of Beltane to me. So Beltane today, the 1st of May, lands between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. And Imbolc lands between the spring equinox and the winter solstice. So it's the other side of the equinox to us now. And this is a song that I wrote for Imbolc. But why I want to bring it up is because it really talks about no matter what, usually it's the masculine patriarch in power does to the people and the land and the indigenous people and the oppressed people, that spirit is never extinguished. It's always born afresh. And particularly I love the metaphor of it being born in the young woman. And we tend to, in our culture now, really judge younger women who get pregnant, but we have a stigma about teenage pregnancy moms. And I used to work with teenagers who were pregnant, and they were amazing. They grew up so fast, and they were able to do this amazing strength and wisdom came through many of them. So I just want to shout out to that love and care and a wee prayer for all teenagers who are pregnant right now. So I'm gonna change the screen here. It's really strange for me to be playing the piano and have it right here because I like uprights, and one of the reasons I like an upright is because you face the wall. I find it emotionally naked to be playing and the camera right there and you watching. Yeah, I think, Alana, your mic's not picking up. So Alana just chipped in on Skype that it's May Day, so it's appropriate to be naked, emotionally naked. Yes. So there's a la 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 that you can sing along. Alana, you're not allowed to sing along because there might be a delay, but everybody at home, you're welcome to sing along. It goes like this. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Beloved maiden, sweet Bridget, you are the spring and new life in my veins. Men may defile you, woman may banish you, but you cannot be removed from the soil. There was a moment you could not bear it all, and your tears fell to earth for what you saw. And on that hallowed ground there grew a fruit tree, with Eden's fruit brought to light through your tears. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. O wise midwife, threshold keeper, there's a harsh, bitter cold in these times, but in your tender heart there lives a beauty. It's the gold that fills the cracks where we divide. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Beloved maiden, sweet Bridget, you are the spring and new life for this world.
Beautiful. I think it would be a good time to mention our love of Iona.
Yes. Now, just before we get there, I'm going to jump in 2 comments because you can't see the comments. So there's 2 people who are watching who met Peace Pilgrim. One is Pam, Reverend Pam, that I work with. And the other one is Jess. Yeah.
Hello.
Or Jessamine. That's so cool. Yeah.
Very
Iona,
cool.
yes, I'd love to talk to you about Iona. So I spotted on your Patreon, because that's how I know you, is through being a follower of yours on Patreon, that you were going to Iona, and I got so excited. I thought, oh, you're going to love it. And you did, didn't you?
I did, yes. I should mention that Simon has been supporting me from his own Patreon as like a tithe, which is pretty amazing. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's amazing. It feels like a lovely web of some kind. Yes. Simon how long did you live there?
I lived on Iona between 2006 and 2008. I lived in the Abbey, in the community, for the first year in the Abbey building, and then the second year up at the MacLeod Centre. Me and my former wife, we ran the retreat centre called the MacLeod Centre.
Okay. And so is it okay for me to tell the story of how we've got a kind of a recording of I've recorded the Waterboys song coming up on my new album, Hymns from the Icons, where I'm recording all these other people's tunes that were kind of popular that have like a spiritual breadth to them. Well, Simon sings on that, but when I sent the Waterboys version, remember? And there's an image.
Oh, yes.
There's an image on the Waterboys version from YouTube.
That has my boat on it.
And what's in the image that you created?
That was amazing. I looked at this photo and I saw the boat that I built. That lives on boat builder. Yeah, I built a 14-foot dinghy, so a small rowing boat, and it's on Iona. And there it was in the image that this person who uploaded the song to YouTube used, and I thought that was amazing.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I actually have some stones here from Iona that I keep in my studio. I have some more. And actually, we don't have flowers at all right now because it's brown all around, waiting for the green up in Canada, at least here in Canada, the prairies. But I have a little bit of yarrow that I brought back from Iona.
Oh, nice.
I almost wore it in my hair for May Day, but it was a challenge getting out here because the kids were wondering if I was putting them to bed, and I kind of lost track of it somehow. So, but yes, it feels like we have that commonplace.
Yes, that I both love, and I've also noticed its presence in your music, not just in that song. You recorded a few. We both have a Be Still song. I think we both have a few doubles, I suspect. I don't know all your music. I only know what I've encountered on Patreon. And you were recording, because I sent you a message and said, please go into this chapel. It has the best acoustics in Europe. And you went in and you recorded some of John Philip Newell's words, I think.
Yes.
Who he and his wife ran the same retreat centre that I used to.
Yes.
Yeah, they also ran the Abbey. So it was just like this beautiful full circle. And the strangest one for me was Daniela.
Yes.
Okay, I don't even know that story. I just got an email, I think, from you or her saying, hey, I think it was from you.
Yes.
So Daniela's
She's a healer.
She is, and she makes the green stone necklaces that I know that some of you have.
Yes. I don't have one of hers, but a lot of the ladies that were on that retreat have one. But I actually was interested in her healing work, so I spent some time with her. And
then did she just ask you what you do and then realize that what we do was similar? And it's quite unusual what we do.
Of you and thought that I should meet you or something. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
I think she's quite intuitive and psychic. And, beloved person of mine. And I know Pam has some of the people here. Betsy knows her too. I know that Pam knows Daniela because I organised for the pilgrimage from the church where I work to get a little tour. Now, Daniela walks really fast and left them kind of in the dust. So apart from the fact that she walked too fast, they loved her.
Nice. Yeah.
Do you want to sing an Iona song or anything around that? Or
well, I have a song that I want to play, but I just wanted to bring it up because you mentioned Bridget, and
yes,
I went up to Bridget's well under the moonlight with 2 other women one night, and climbed the hill and.
I used to. Today is the day. My parents they phoned me this morning, and they said they did not wash their face in the dew and asked me if I did, and I didn't. That's a tradition for May Day. But when I was on Iona, I went up and I went to the well and splashed and drank some of the water, even though the sheep get in, so they tell you not to. Yes. But I did it anyway.
It's still magic.
It's still magic.
I drank it too. Confessions. It's like it's where we like our rational scientific history. We just sort of bypass it for a bit and just go magic.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna play a song here.
And remember that don't get overly excited because you'll peak. So we've got a problem.
Okay,
We've had technical.
I'm very excitable.
And your mic is very sensitive.
Yes, I'll try and make it sensitive. So I wrote this when I started learning about the gut microbiome. So it's like a whole other organ that's about 6 pounds of you, and it's made up of billions of microorganisms that are, well, essentially good germs that live in your gut. And when they're not happy, we're not happy, basically, because it creates inflammation and all this. So I was learning about all of this and how actually when you take a close-up picture of your gut microbiome, it looks identical almost to if you were to take a microscopic picture of a teaspoon of healthy soil. So there's all these living organisms in there, and so I just wrote this. That's actually how this song came about, but I feel like it's a good one for May Day because it's earthy, and that's how healthy soil is how all the good things grow. So sink beneath the surface for a moment. Find what's common in the undercurrent. Beyond the misperceptions, touch what's real. A divine and holy ground no one can steal. And we are formed from that very earth, where infinity collides to give birth to all all of life, all of life, all of life, all of life, to all of life, all of life, all of life, all of life. Separation is the cause for our disease. We kill our wellness when we single out the weeds. We fear some monster lurking in diversity, when monster used to mean the symbol for a warning. And I myself am an ecosystem where millions live to bring me life, to bring me life, to bring me life, bring me life, to bring me life, to bring me life, bring me life, bring me life, bring me life. And one day I will be food for someone, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. May life live on, may life live on, may life live on and on and on. May life live on, may life live on, even when you and I are gone.
Love that. Love it. You were playing that when we had our technical rehearsal.
Yes.
And I was like, what is that? I have behind me my big folder of songs that I use as a sacred musician. And you're in there.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a few of your songs in there.
Oh, I'm honored.
Fourth and Walnut and
Oh,
your Easter
yes.
one and To
I
Disappear into
remember
God.
you sent me a recording of you
yeah.
singing Fourth and Walnut.
A long time ago. Yeah, I used
Another,
it.
well, all places are sacred, but another sacred place that I love.
I hear your dogs, which makes me happy because you might have heard mine earlier. I've been thinking a lot about death, because that's one of the things I do as a minister is work around death, and a lot of people have been writing to me to join them in their prayer. Like every Wednesday at 11 I do a healing service, and a lot of the people who request prayers, it's for people who are dying of the coronavirus or of other circumstance. And life and death, tomb and womb go together. And I had a live stream with my friend Rhonda this week where we were talking about the work that we do around death and life, and how the two are just so interlinked. And the Celtic year starts with the death. It starts the day after Halloween. That's when the start of the year is. So we're not at the start of the year, but we are kind of in the birthplace. We're in the time of sex and sacred balance. I love the fact that you were talking about sacred balance between the masculine and the feminine. But I want to share this song, which I set the words of St. Francis into the song, Canticle of the Sun. Abbey of the Arts, Christine and Betsy who's watching, they asked me to set this to music, and I'm so glad they asked me to do this. But your soil song kind of reminded me of that life and death, and that image of ourselves, the mirror of God is right there in creation is one of the things that St. Francis said. I'm gonna jump onto me so that people don't hear your dogs. Most high, all powerful, precious God, no spoken word can hold your name. Praise be to you who births all life with all your creatures. Especially you, sir, brother, son, who is the day and is your light, a beauty so true to you. There you are, there you are. Praise be to you, my Lord, you are. Sister moon and the stars, bright precious heaven, there you are, there you are. Praise be to you, my Lord, you are. Brother wind and the air, breath of spirit, there you are, there you are. Praise be to you, my Lord, you are. Sister water, gift of life, pure, essential, there you are, there you are. Praise be to you, my Lord, you are. Brother fire, friend through the night, strong and playful, there you are, there you are. Most high, all powerful, precious God, no spoken word can hold your name. Let me try that again. Most high, all powerful, precious God, through Mother Earth we see your face. You who govern all of life, sustain and nurture all that is. With sister death, first and last breath, the key unlocking all we are, there we are. There we are. There we are. Alana, I had to drop one of my earbuds because all I could hear were your dogs barking. But that's all right. I'll put you on the screen now. Your
Okay.
mic's on now, yeah.
Then everyone can hear the dogs. So just this week we have had an old mobile home that we lived in until we moved into a barn that we converted into a house. And we used to, since we've been living in the barn, we rented it out like as an Airbnb through the summers. But we actually just, with everything that's happening, we decided not to have an Airbnb this year, mainly because everybody was already sending me messages either canceling or so concerned about how I was going to clean the place that I just couldn't handle the pressure of like being responsible for not wiping a surface and like I don't know, it was just along with running the farm and the music and all the rest and the kids, I was just like, I guess can't do it. So we kind of didn't put the word out. We just put the word out silently, like just very quietly in our hearts. We sort of started opening up to this idea of if there was somebody who wanted to move in there. Well, it turns out that a young mobile organic farm, this young couple that run it's like a mobile farm, so they can, they don't own land yet. They have mobile infrastructure. They wanted to move here, and we know them a little bit already and really like them. And so they have brought, we normally have one dog. They have 3 dogs.
We got a herd of dogs now.
So now we have our pack.
Yeah, that's right, it's a pack.
And so we're getting used to it, but it's still great. And I thought it's interesting how you stopped St. Francis song and now they're done.
I know.
Barking.
And I was like, St. Francis is just visiting.
Has that thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. They were like, oh, he's here.
yeah. And the littlest one is like part beagle. And she's the boss.
Yes.
They have like a 150-pound St. Bernard type dog.
Nice.
You'd think would be the boss. But
No, that's not the way it works. And it was crossing my mind. Of course, this is we had that earlier on in the meditation for the church that Pam called in St. Bridget, and then her little deaf blind Shih Tzu, or I don't remember what type of Maltese I think it is, started barking at the door even though there's nobody there. So be careful what you pray for, because your dogs will start barking.
Well, I wonder if Daisy continues. I wonder if should we close? Should we?
All right, I mean, I could also sing another song a little bit too.
Yeah.
Because when it's just me, I don't mind it too much. I don't know. I can't see if people are leaving the show. I don't think they are. I think we've got a bunch of animal lovers.
That's
actually,
good.
I wanted to ask you a question about soil, and one of the words that I heard you say once was that Jesus was a soil ecologist.
Oh, no, I've said that he was a radical earth dweller.
Radical earth dweller.
And I think he was a food sovereigntist.
That's what it was, a food sovereigntist, yeah.
Yes.
And
I do.
Yeah.
So John Dominic Crossan, the great Jesus historian, when they discovered that first century fishing boat on the Sea of Galilee, he was so excited. He's gotten to spend a lot of time with that boat. And of course, he's done all this work and research on just the way he reads between the lines of the moves, like the geographical moves. Moving to Capernaum, for instance, was along the coastline of the Sea of Galilee. And at that exact time, basically a corporate fishery had overtaken the Sea of Galilee, and this Tiberias was the corporate fishery, and all of these little towns that are along the coastline just so happen to be all of the friends and disciples. And these abundance miracles, I find them to be very fascinating. But the one where they cast the nets particularly, after a long night of fishing, not being able to catch anything. The reason why they couldn't catch anything is because of the corporate fishery, and the fish wasn't staying local. It was moving to serve Roman citizens. Okay, so there's a lot going on there that I'm super fascinated with because I'm a regenerative farmer and see when a system is in motion, like an ecosystem is in motion, 1 + 1 never equals just 2. It's a multiplier. It's a very abundant, expressive thing. And so anyway, and versus the way we would try to see, the growth economy, which is exhaustive. It is exhaustive. So because it's extractive.
Yeah.
And so the way the fishery was working was deeply extractive. It wasn't staying local. It was moving to serve Roman citizens. And so for instance, abundance miracle of casting the net and having the nets break because of how many fish. To me, it's a statement that's, I bite my thumb at you, Rome, more than just this, like the prosperity gospel or something like that. It's a very deep, textured move. So yeah, I call him a radical earth dweller and a food sovereigntist.
Part of the reason I was just interested, but I also think that Beltane is a time in which there's great joy that there's food again. Now, maybe not in Canada where you are, but where we are, and with my father sends me pictures of his garden in Scotland, is that there's food again. And the soil is, can you imagine some of the diet people would eat over the winter a long, long time ago, and there's just this joy and abundance, and it's so much more than just, oh, thank God the sun's come back. Oh, thank God life has come back.
Yeah.
The new life that we can eat that sustains us. There's that whole celebration going on in Beltane.
Yeah, and you think about too you think about how the comfort zone again, because we don't often comprehend the supply chain. And how something comes, somebody produced it and it traveled and it ends up somewhere in your store. And our ancestors who say the Anishinaabe ancestors from this land, the deep wisdom of an 8-month winter.
Oh,
just imagine that.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's quiet enough. What do you think for a song? And I have to tell you that Beverly is so excited that there's a beagle there. So Beverly is my friend.
Her name's Daisy.
Daisy.
She's the boss.
And there's a question from Jill says, this is an amazing concert. Thank you. That's great feedback. Jill in New Zealand. Betsy from Abbey of the Arts, who lives near Seattle, says, Alana, have you watched the new show based on scripture called The Chosen? They have a very powerful episode on Peter's miraculous catch, and it depicts some of the undercurrents that you were discussing. I recommend it.
Ooh, I haven't seen it. I'm very excited, though.
All right, I'm going to pass to you to sing a song. I'm going to focus up on you and stop talking.
Oh, okay. What shall I play? I wonder if I should play the John Phillips. This ended up on the Meditation with Children album that I did with Noel Keating from Ireland. He in his retirement he brought centering prayer to like 150 schools in Ireland, and then wrote a book on very gently wrote this beautiful book on the interior happenings of what the kids had to say about it. And they said amazing things. One of them said, there is goodness inside. I thought that was beautiful. So, yeah, but this is John Philip Newell's line. And it's just my version of it. Be still, there we go. Be still and aware of God's presence within and all around. Be still and aware of God's presence within and all around. Be still, be still, be still, be still. Be still and aware of God's presence within and all around. Be still and aware of God's presence within and all around. Be still, be still, be still, be still.
Nice. Can I jump in with my be still?
Sure, that would be great. The great way to end it.
Oh, I've still got deep peace. So, can't not sing deep peace on Beltane. There'd be a riot. There'd be all these people knocking on the computer screen. Oh, thank you. That was lovely. The earth gives way, the mountains move into the sea, the nations rage. God holds it all. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that Be still and know that Be still and know Be still and be still. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that Be still and know that Be still and know Be still and Be still. Be. Amen. My friend, do you have one more song for us? Or are you all out? You can be out. You're our special guest. You get to.
Is there anyone on here that? Well, maybe shouldn't ask for requests because then I'll have to remember the song.
That's all right. This is a very non-judgmental. There's somebody here that's got a really lovely comment. Let me look at this and find out who this is. Rachel Kavanagh, maybe, says, yeah. Alana, this is one of my favorites from your meditation album with children.
Oh, hi, Rachel.
And I should be able to tell you who all the people are, but there's too many things. There's Skype and there's the broadcasting software. Lots going on in my computer. I'm so glad it didn't catch fire.
Yeah. Let me think.
Yeah, there's a 30-second delay. Beverly says you have to play one more. That's my friend Beverly that used to have the beagles. That's very excited that there's beagles barking in the background. Just for you, Beverly. That's why that happened. St. Francis made that happen for you.
Let me think what I will play. Oh, maybe I'll play that one where I put music to this child from Ireland, not very old, maybe 10 or 11, said, there is goodness inside. That was basically through experiencing meditation over, I think the way Noel did it was he would go 1 minute per year of age, I think. So if they were 6, they did 6 minutes.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Or maybe it was a grade, so 1 minute for... I can't remember exactly what it was, but he worked with very small children and they had really poignant things to say about sort of an inner landscape of discovery that they really didn't necessarily know was there. So I'll try and remember this. And then there's a gal from Poland.
Oh, yeah.
Is the one that she translated this. I will not sing it in Polish. I had to work very hard to record that for, even though that's part of my ancestry.
I want to do a little plug for Patreon here because that was so lovely to hear. I mean, you've got this Polish sounding surname and then you're releasing this album and then there's this bizarre video that you post from this Polish lady saying about how she reached out to you and you learned how to sing it in Polish and you recorded it for her.
Yeah, and then she played it for their whole meditation circle in Poland and they were crying and it's
and how healing for everybody, for you, that reconnection with, but it's all that stuff really only goes out on Patreon, that behind the scenes heartwarming stuff. So if you're not one of our patrons, please consider becoming one. I have a low income option. You start quite low, I think, per song.
And if you become Simon's patron, he's tithing to me right now, so it's win-win for both of us.
That's true. So I'm going to finish with that shameless plug. But yeah, I'm going to give you the full screen and let you say whatever you want to say. I'm going to shut up now.
I think I'm going to add another verse that I have never done before because it would be nice to culminate Beltane that way. I'm going to come up with a Beltane verse. But let's see. There is goodness inside, there is kindness inside. If we sit for a while, we will feel it, we will know it. There is goodness inside, there is kindness inside. If we sit for a while, we'll feel it, we will know it. I have to remember it. And when trusting gets hard, sitting quiet, you will find that there is goodness inside, there is kindness inside. If we sit for a while, we sit for a while, we will feel it, we will know it. So trust in this goodness, and trust in this kindness. And when trusting gets hard, sit in quiet, you will find that there is goodness inside, there is kindness inside, there is beauty inside, there is fire inside. If we dance for a while, we will feel it, we will know it. There is beauty inside, there is fire inside. If we dance for a while, we will feel it, we will know it. So trust in this beauty, and trust in this fire. And when trusting gets hard, dance again, you will see there is beauty inside, there is fire inside, there is goodness inside, there is kindness inside.
Nice. So you have got a request from Cullen to do the deer cry, and there's people asking for encores. Which is great. I'm glad.
That's great. Like, we can't see this blasting standing ovation.
No, we can't, but we could feel it, and I can read it a little bit. One of the other things that this time of year brings out for me is the migrating birds. I'm woken up to the sound, and I go, and I also, I especially think of my mother actually when I hear the bird song after it's got dark, because she sits in her conservatory in Scotland and just listens. That's one of her things that she does, and I don't have a conservatory to sit in, so I only sit outside for a little bit because I get too cold. But I like to do that to connect with her over the thousands of miles. So this is going to be on my new album. It's called Wild Geese. So it's Mary Oliver's poem, set to music by my friend Adam Rowland. And I hope Cindy is watching, because she became a patron today. Yay! And so I sent her the free pass. But she is the person who's sponsoring this song. When I produce a new album to help with the offset of costs, I invite my supporters to sponsor a song, and they're involved in helping me emotionally get ready, and they hold me accountable, and they send me prayers, and they send me money to help cover the recording costs. And Cindy adopted this song, so I hope she's watching. This one's for you, even if you're not watching. You don't have to be good. You don't have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Love what it loves. Tell me about despair, and I'll tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the clouds and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and deep trees. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean air are coming home again. So whoever you are, no matter how lonely the world offers itself to your imagination, calls you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things, in the family of things. You don't have to be good. You don't have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Love what it loves. Love what it loves.
I love that poem.
It's an amazing poem,
Beautiful.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I
I heard that poem the first time I was going out to do a solo, kind of a solo fast for 4 days in the Colorado backcountry. So I was kind of repenting through the desert, but it was helpful.
That sounds great. I wondered if you would be up for doing that request from Cullen for the Dear Crown. We could end on that, maybe.
Yes.
And also, I'm going to say that Mickey, who lives here in Washington, says, fabulous, the stories, your voices, your song choices, the way that you play off each other, such a rich experience with much gratitude.
Ah, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, the electronic world of music that brings people like you and me together, and we get to record even though we've never met face to face. Hopefully we will one day.
Yes, I would love that. Okay, I'm just going to get, you can keep talking for a minute if you want, just for a minute, because I have to do something here.
I'm going to put it on me, and maybe I'll do Deep Peace while you're doing that, huh? It looks like, I bet you're getting lyrics, huh? Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll very happily play Deep Peace, and so this prayer is about 1,500 years old. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the Son of Peace to you. And moon and stars pour their healing light on you. La 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 la. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the child of peace to you. The moon and stars pour their healing light on you. La 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 la. La 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 la. Alana, do you need more time? I want to tell you that, so I've been able to see Alana the whole time from Skype, and it's been really beautiful to watch the light fade to complete black behind you. It's been this beautiful blue, and now it's completely black. So we've sang with you as night falls, which is really very, very special. Thank you for saying yes to this.
Thank you for inviting me, and thanks to everyone who's with us right now. Mm-hmm. We feel you. Simon can see your comments. I can't. I'm just trying to practice the old way of before the pre-Wi-Fi way to connect.
Yeah, I've got Ethernet, so I could plug in and have multiple things happening, but I didn't let Alana plug in because I was like, no, it'll affect your sound.
That's good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. That was a great, fulfilling conversation with you, Simon. All right. Let me see if I can remember this. Christ with me. Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath, Christ on my right and on my left. In me, Christ in me, Christ in me, Christ in me. With me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ beneath, Christ above, Christ on my right and on my left. Christ
Perfect way to end, to bookmark this Beltane celebration with the deer's cry.
Yes.
Yes. Do you still have your candle there?
I
Will
do.
you grab it and I'll grab my oaks? So beautiful people, with the light, the Christ light, the sunlight, however you understand that higher consciousness and the new life that is in your blood and veins and the earth around you, may that bless you and energize you and keep you healthy and strong until we meet virtually again. Okay, good night, everybody. We love
Goodbye.
you.
Good night.
Yeah, bye.